yeah, baby. We're doing it. We are doing FNAF lore!
So, I'm doing the thing. Unlike...
Dude, that's exactly how I feel right now. I cannot believe I was forced to go through with this. Oh, God.
Like most of the horror series that I cover, I feel like today's horror series needs no introduction. Five Nights at Freddy's has quickly become one of the most popular video game IPs ever. Five Nights at Freddy's...
It's wild how big Five Nights at Freddy's is. I wish someone could explain to me actually why it got as big as it did. Like, for some of the other really massive, game-breaking indie-style creations, like Undertale or whatever, like, I totally get its success, right? It's a brilliant story. It's fantastic characters. Five Nights at Freddy's just seems so, like, I don't know, it's a horror game for kids?
Freddy's currently has...
Chat spamming. You know, winky faces! Alright, dude, it didn't get popular because of furries, okay? Get out of here.
9 games in its main series, as well as over a dozen books written about it and countless fan games.
This has a dozen books? Oh my glob!
Not only that, but even people who hate the games have to admit that it was probably the most impactful indie horror series of all time.
It's actually, that kind of hurts me to think about, but that is very true. Yeah, and I never liked Five Nights at Freddy's, but I am such a sucker for some good porn, lore, I am here for it.
And the craziest part about it is, to this day, no one really knows what happened. Like, if you play through the games...
What? This man made an 120-minute video? Okay, an hour, 20-minute video on the complete story explained, and no one actually... Oh my god.
It's very clear that there is a story happening in the background, however, the gameplay always takes center stage.
Dude, I love subtle storytelling in video games. I think it's one of the arts of the video game medium is the ability to actually tell stories without telling stories. Like, I just got a friend of mine into Elden Ring, alright? He played Elden Ring, he loved Elden Ring, and after that I made him watch all the freaking lore videos. And he's like, I don't understand. This game has such a great story. Why do I not know any of it from the actual game?
Despite the
I think that's part of the beauty of it.
Countless Reddit threads and YouTube videos made on the topic, there still doesn't seem to be a clear answer of what happened in the games themselves.
And you know who's happy about that? matpat, who's made 4,000 videos on FNAF. Absolute legend.
So I'm here to throw my hat in the ring and present to you what I believe to be the story of the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Let's do it,
this
baby!
Video started out, I just wanted to cover the FNAF VHS tapes, because a couple people, specifically Squimpus McGrimpus...
That is one of the greatest channel names I've ever heard. Chat, you guys should try to emulate Squimpus McGrimpus. If you come up with a channel name, bro, don't call yourself Doom Annihilator or Pussy Stretcher. You gotta go with Squimpus McGrimpus. That is awesome.
Which is a funny name, has made fantastic horror set within the universe of Five Nights at Freddy's, but taking its own story direction with its own characters and events. However, after getting all of my research done for that, and then thinking how I would describe it to you all, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to someone who wasn't familiar with the Five Nights series.
Thank you, bro. Dude, this is why I love Wendigoon so much. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's here, he's going to cover everything in its entirety and put it together in a way that anyone can digest it. And I'm not just saying the word digestion because of how much weird FNAF lore I've seen over my time on the internet without actually knowing at all what's going on. I'm saying, bro, Wendigoon is so peak. I'm so happy we've become friends over this YouTube shenanigans. What a beautiful man.
So I asked myself, what is the minimal amount of information I need to tell you about the Five Nights series in order for you to understand the VHS tapes? And that eventually devolved into me breaking down the entire story with all of the characters and major events.
Alright, so I'll tell you what I know about Five Nights at Freddy's. Dude's a security guard for 5 nights in a place with animatronic machines swallowing children whole, and Markiplier screams a lot, and then matpat makes way too much money. That's all I know, bro. That's all I got.
I'm doing great. However, I'm only partially joking on that, because I do believe that the Five Nights at Freddy's storyline is a very interesting story that deserves to be told.
Damn it! I hate when the Five Nights at Freddy guys are right. God damn it! It's such a dark day in hell when I sit here and the furries are right if it's actually a good story. Well, I will reserve judgment. The furries have been telling me, bro, the story's actually great. The furries in question being, like, you know, Chibidoki and Evanito. They're like, yo, FNAF lore is actually great. And I'm like, bro, there's no way. All right, let's do this.
However, if you're familiar with the series at all, then you probably know that the problem with telling the story is the story itself. See, the story of the game takes place across the first 7 entries. The game's in chronological order, or at least my chronological order, because we can't even agree on when the games happen.
No! There's no official actual timeline. They have to come up with a timeline. Dude, the reason why I'm so happy to be doing this is because I love random internet bullshit. It has become my favorite thing. If there is some sort of internet bullshit going on, I want to know about it and be able to sniff it, okay? So, I am here for this. I am so here for it, baby.
But in my chronological order,
I will know the lore of everything, goddammit. I will become Nuxanor.
4, 2, 1, 5, 3, 6, 7.
Wait, why would he do that? Why would he make that the order? Oh, why do I feel like so much of analog horror or indie horror is spooky things happen, it's mysterious because the timeline is fucked up? Dude, why is that always the horror aspect of it?
Yeah, and the reason that it's so confusing for newcomers to the series to try to figure out what's going on is because anytime you search something like Five Nights at Freddy's Theory...
Oh, you idiot! You're gonna search Five Nights at Freddy's Theory? Let me show you what happens if you search Five Nights at Freddy's Theory. FNAF Theory. What if you wanted matpat to tell you, oh, good! FNAF Theory, look! Look, guys, it's FNAF Theory. This'll definitely get you so well known. You'll know everything is, oh god, it's just matpat's made infinite FNAF Theory. Matpat alone, brother. Dog, you just go to Game Theory, okay? Search Game Theory for FNAF. Playlist of 65 videos. 65 videos. Alright, dude, listen, man, I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Tell me it's actually good. Prove to me FNAF lore is actually good.
You're greeted with videos from 5 years ago, whenever the 3rd game was out, so we didn't know the events in the 4th game were going to happen. But then the theories from the 4th game didn't know that the events of the 5th game were going to happen.
Goddamn.
So people kept trying to glue together a puzzle because all the pieces weren't out yet. But now I, in the future, with the privilege of hindsight, can put together the puzzle the way that I believe it was always meant to be viewed. And I'm going to do that in a kind of controversial way. I want this video to serve, again, not...
don't worry. Every time you do something controversial, I will also do something controversial, okay? Easy, easy. I will make fun of a minority every time you say something controversial. I'll be with you in our suffering. Yes, yes!
Only as
That's a joke. I love minorities. Why would I? Okay.
On the timeline for those out there who are a fan of the series, but also as an introductory point so that new people coming in are able to view all the information and better understand the story. And when you look at the entire series as one narrative, I think it becomes far more interesting and far more terrifying. So in order to achieve both of those ends...
Wait, he thinks that actually knowing the direct correlation of events makes the story even scarier? That's interesting, because for the most part, for me, a lot of horror from horror shows and games come from the fact that we don't understand the actual chronology of it. So that's actually really interesting.
And putting emphasis on the fact that this is a cool story that deserves to be told.
Damn,
I am
bro.
simply
Is it
not
actually
going to explain myself. At least not entirely explain myself. Like, several of the things on this board go against the majority of the community's interpretation of what happened. So whenever I have a real controversial take, I'm going to explain that. But like over here, I have one of William's children listed as being named Evan. In order for you to understand
That's why Evan Ito's been getting me to watch this shit.
Story, I don't need to sit here for 10 minutes and tell you about we got the name Evan because in the survival book, which is an accompany book for the games, they found a series of numbers on one page and then added them together by the page number at the bottom and then went over to a letter grid and input those values and got the name Evan.
What the actual fuck? What kind of psychopath madman put it together that to come up with the name Evan, you need to go through all those hoops? Oh my, what the hell, man? I mean, yes, it's cool, but also at the same time, why?
Because if you're not familiar with the series, that's how we found out everything. And again, while...
Oh my god, so FNAF is really just codes upon codes upon codes. What, dude? If you gotta respect the Scott, that's the guy that made FNAF, right? You gotta respect the absolute gigantic balls on Scott that he came up with FNAF as an indie horror game that he had no idea would be successful, but he put so many codes in it that even if it only saw moderate success, no one would have ever figured out anything. It's only because it got super duper artistically successful. That is the only reason why people were actually able to put this stuff together. The actual balls on that man.
While I think stuff like that is cool, more people, at least currently, are focused on if his name's Evan or not, rather than the entire plot and story of what happened.
Yeah,
and
sucks.
I think that the latter is far more interesting.
Oh yeah, incredibly based, Wendigoon. I don't need to get into theories if his name is Evan or Michael. Just fucking go for it. Rip the band-aid off. Show me some kids getting swallowed. Let's go.
So I know this has been a long introduction, but there's a lot to explain. As always, there's going to be timestamps in the description for what I'm describing, but I'm going to go through the timeline, or my opinion of the timeline, for the Five Nights at Freddy's video game series, as well as talk about the characters. And then from there, we will begin talking about the VHS tapes and the other YouTube horror shorts based around Five Nights at Freddy's, because I think they're really cool. And if any of this sounds cool to you, stick around after the ad, as we're going to get into thank you for watching. The first thing to understand about the Five Nights at Freddy's series is that at its core, it's the story of two people. And those two people are William Afton and Henry Emily.
Wait, what? I had no idea. I thought it was about some idiot security guard. Okay, listen, I'm coming in here blind as shit, brother. Oh my god.
Henry and William were business partners, and they went in as partners together.
Yeah, it is a horror story. Business partners? That's opening the door for a rough ride. Yep, that's a horror.
On a new branch of children's entertainment. This new style of children's entertainment would be demonstrated on their first business venture together, a restaurant known as Fredbear's Family Diner. With later entries of the series, as many people have pointed out, you could think of the restaurants as a sort of Chuck E. Cheese establishment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's Chuck E. Cheese, and instead of the Chuck E. Cheese mascots, you have the Freddy's mascot, and it goes evil and kills people at night, question mark?
The kind of places that would have singing animatronics, as well as arcade games and pizza parties for children of all ages. However, at least in the beginning, Fredbear's wasn't like that. It was a much smaller establishment that boasted two animatronics. The down-to-earth, homey nature of it is even present in the name of Fredbear's Family Diner. It certainly seems like a passion project, not only in the name and very nature of a children's entertainment business, but also in the attitudes of the two owners. From everything we see later in the series, it seems like Henry was the business and managerial side of the partnership.
I cannot believe we actually know this. Like, oh my god.
While William was more interested in the day-to-day operations, and specifically the construction of the animatronics. What made these animatronics unique, and the thing that set their business apart from other competitors...
The fact that they literally ate children. Okay, listen, I don't know if that part's real. That's just some of the shit I hear. ...was the addition of something William dubbed as spring lock suits. The core idea behind a spring lock suit is that it is initially a normal animatronic. Dude, why on earth is there so much detail? Oh my god! Alright, FNAF lore, let's go.
However, if someone were to twist the gear on the back of the costume, the animatronic parts would slip to the sides and allow a worker to step inside of the animatronic itself and use it as a costume.
Okay, so these animatronics are designed that they could both be piloted like remotely, like they could be an animatronic, or you can move apart the mechanics and they could be driven around inside. Alright, pretty cool, pretty based, sure, alright.
Whereas at other establishments, the children would see an animatronic on stage, and then a worker would come out to serve them pizza in a kind of store mascot version of the costume. At Fredbear's Family Diner, they could watch the animatronics get off stage themselves and come play with the kids. Okay. It seems like...
Cute, I guess, sort of. Sure, alright, that's interesting. I don't see it exactly being such a wonderful business venture just on a financial standpoint, but okay.
In the beginning, that was part of the goal for William, to keep the magic alive in the mind of a child. And in the beginning, it seems that they had such humble beginnings that William and Henry were the people running the costumes themselves.
Wholesome.
Despite being owners, they would take the time to step into their own respective spring-lock suits and go play and entertain the children. Henry would pilot the restaurant's namesake, the Fredbear suit itself, whereas William would slip into the secondary mascot of the business, a golden rabbit costume which would later be known to the community as Spring Bonnie. Perhaps...
I've heard of Spring Bonnie. Alright, okay, so basically what you're telling me here thus far is this all started as a business venture to entertain children. With zero nefarious motives, they purely just wanted to create a way to keep children have fun and entertained. They wanted to be Chuck E. Cheese, except more lifelike than Chuck E. Cheese. That's cute. Alright, I like that.
Part of this dedication to the project came in the form of their own children. William, having 3 children himself...
Let's go! Man had sex. Everyone in chat wishes they were William right now.
And Evan, and Henry having 1 daughter by the name of Charlie.
Bro, Henry Emily has a daughter, Charlie. Very cool.
I know that in the books it mentions Henry has a son as well. However, he's never mentioned anywhere in the games. So again, I'm just talking the games. He doesn't exist up here. Something that I want to mention really quick on this timeline is if an event is inside of a red box, that is a definite year that that event happened.
Wait, so after all of these games, you only know 4 actual years? The rest is just kind of plopping it in different areas, just, trying to figure out where it's... Oh, God, okay.
There's not a lot of surefire times we get in the series, so the few that you see with the red box are times we know this happened on this date. The blue boxes are more so guesstimates. In other words, the thing I'm about to talk about says 1980, but it could have also been 81 or late 70s, or the year doesn't really matter. 1980
okay, all
is
right,
just a
just
guess.
before.
Looking at the timeline, we can see that William and Henry started Fredbear's Family Diner around 1970. And then, thanks in no small part to the dedication of the owners themselves, as well as the invention of spring-lock suits, a decade later, they are able to expand their brand, as around 1980, William opens Afton Robotics, and William and Henry continue to expand the business itself.
So it extends in both ways, right? So the actual business does really, really well, right? Interesting. So the business does well. They open more locations for this actual Freddy's concept. The Freddy Bear becomes kind of like a mascot to children, like a pseudo Chuck E. Cheese. And over time, the actual technology that went into the animatronics itself also gets much more profitable. I guess other companies want to buy that technology as well. And so they start basically succeeding in their business ventures in both ways. They can give children a more wholesome and idealized experience in like a Chuck E. Cheese type situation, and also the actual technology of it's good. All right, successful businessmen. Okay, all right. All right, where is this going awry, though? This seems just, like, nice and wholesome and better than most business ventures go.
With Fazbear Entertainment, which becomes a sort of industrial chain of Freddy Fazbear restaurants.
Okay.
Things were going great for the two. Henry was continuing
and nothing bad will happen! Oh wait, there's still another hour to this video.
to manage the brand as it was expanding, and William continued to create more odd and interesting robotic figures. One of these inventions that we see in the games is a small Fredbear plush that seems to have a camera inside of it, as well as a series of animatronics later.
Dude, why do they look so scary though? Oh my god, what is with children liking this shit? They're so scary.
They're dubbed Fun.
Also, Chica, I may not know a lot about Five Nights at Freddy's lore, but I know a thing or two of Toy Chica.
Time animatronics that it seems William was building during this time. Everything was going great, and it seemed that nothing would stop the pair from accomplishing great things in the realm of children's entertainment.
Hell yeah.
That was until the accident that happened in 1983. For whatever reason, it seems that Evan was particularly terrified of the animatronics his father was building.
Understandable, they're scary as fuck, anyway.
And no one's really certain why. People who have gathered information from the books have speculated that perhaps William was purposefully making his child afraid of the animatronics.
What? Okay, if there isn't actually any reason to believe that, then ain't no way that's good. That's a good theory. What kind of dad purposely traumatizes their children? Most dads traumatize their children due to complete not caring and laziness. Like my dad.
Because William knew that they were dangerous, Because, you know, animatronic suits that have, like, wires and gears holding the animatronic pieces from flying back into place and impaling you, it's called foreshadowing, would be dangerous.
Oh, shit. Okay, alright, hold up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, alright. Wait a second. So yes, this technology that moves apart the animatronic parts so that someone can actually pilot it from inside, obviously there is something holding back those gears from just sliding back into place and crushing whoever's piloting it. Oh, frick. Ironclaw, thanks for the 1,000 bits. I'm done watching anything made by Mappa Studio. Alright, that is your prerogative, and I would not blame anyone that doesn't do that, honestly. Like, I agree Mappa Studio has been very shitty lately, but ultimately, if you want to separate the art from the artist, that's your prerogative, and I respect that as well. I'm allowed to like Harry Potter, even though I think J.K. Rowling is cringe on Twitter.
To go around, especially if William is building them in his house. From what we see in future games, it even seems that William had put cameras throughout his house so that while he was working on his animatronics, he could monitor exactly what his son was doing. In the meantime, Evan's older brother, Michael, began to torment Evan over his fear of these creatures.
Siblings. Such a wholesome combination of people that always look out the best for each other. That reminds me of an incest hentai I've once seen. Editor, cut that out. Editor, let's not put that in. We don't want the Twitter gamers to freaking annihilate me over that one. Let's, editor.
Point, the brand had extended from not only Fredbear's Family Diner, but there was also Fredbear and Friends, and there were several other mascots that would stand on stage along with Fredbear. One of these was a character by the name of Foxy.
Bro, that guy's so scary! What the hell? Why would children even like this shit?
So, Michael would wear a Foxy mask and begin tormenting his brother because he thought it was funny. William didn't seem to mind this, perhaps even encouraging it, as he saw it another way to keep his son safe.
Keep his son safe? That's a way to keep your son safe? Question mark? Okay, interesting parenting style, but I think parents turning a blind eye to their children abusing each other is like go-to parents.
The events of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, which again according to me is the earliest game in the timeline, followed the nightmares of young Evan Afton. The reason the animatronics look so over-the-top creepy and terrifying
Oh, interesting! Okay. So he's saying that this Five Nights at Freddy's 4 with the horrifying animatronics, that is through the eyes of a traumatized child.
Because these aren't real animatronics. These are the nightmare imaginations of a young child who's afraid of his father's creations.
Dude, that is so good. That is such good writing. What the fuck?
And Evan is spending these sleepless nights trying to evade these creatures of his own imagination. That is until the end of the week, whenever Afton and his family go to Fredbear's Family Diner. While there, Michael and his friends, all wearing the mascots' faces, begin to torment Evan and make him get closer and closer to the animatronics themselves. Until Michael makes a joke that Evan wants to give Fredbear a kiss, to which the boys put Evan into Fredbear's mouth.
Oh fuck. Oh shit, here's the child vor. Here's the child vor that everyone was so excited for.
And whenever the animatronic bites down...
What the fuck? That was in the... I thought that was like a theory. Jesus, I didn't think that was in the actual game. Holy shit. The bite of 87. That's the meme. That's the meme. The bite of 87. Oh my god, bro. This is dark as hell. I thought this was just some sort of horror game for jump scares. I didn't oh my lord. So you had this bite of 83, whatever. So you had this dude who's creates these animatronics. His kid's getting constantly scared by them, pranked by his brother. And as a prank, his brother put his brother into the mouth of an animatronic that crushes him. Wait, that takes a lot of force. Why would there even be enough force in an animatronic's mouth to crush a skull? Okay, whatever, creative liberties. But I feel like Scott's way too attention detail oriented to just let that fly, right? How much force does it take to crush a skull? It should be a lot more than that. Unless it's done on purpose, question mark? Nah, they're just businessmen, right? Child skulls are notoriously weak. He's not a child, though. Google searches to land you on a list? Bro, I was about to Google search, like, how much force required to crush a child's skull? And I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Damn.
Evan doesn't die yet, at least
Let's go! Let's go! Child abuse, not child murder, which is so much better. On my tier list of awful shit, we have child murder, and down the list is child abuse. Massive W. Massive W.
Immediately. His family
What do you mean
rushes
immediately? Oh, I got so excited for literally nothing.
him to the hospital where he remains comatose for the next couple days.
Oh my
In the
God,
final
okay.
levels of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, it's possible when looking back at the bedside to see things like a hospital IV bag or flower
Damn.
pot. Not
Okay.
only that, but the nightmares within the final nights of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 transition from being the general different animatronics from the restaurant to just nightmarish apparitions of Fredbear himself.
Oh my God, because that's a fucking hell, bro. Wait, so oh my God, so this kid gets his skull mangled by an animatronic, goes into a coma, and just continues to live a nightmare-infested hellscape in his coma. Holy shit. This poor guy, what the hell, man? This guy grows up and decides to destroy the Leaf Village. There is no doubt in my mind that this kid doesn't become Obito. Albadoge, thank you for the sub.
While Evan is lying in a hospital bed, we hear Michael tell Evan that he's sorry and ask for his forgiveness.
Michael's the brother, so the brother, well, yeah, obviously. Dude, brothers are cruel, alright? And when they're children, they're pranking each other, they're always trolling each other. They always want the best for each other, even though, like, I had two cousins. They used to beat the fucking hell out of each other when they were kids. Like, they literally would. They would wrestle and they hated each other, sort of. They would fight like hell, but push comes to shove, they would, like, you know, do anything for each other. So these guys were bonkers crazy. One of them was climbing up a ladder, and the ladder, like, part of the ladder derailed, and he ended up slipping and impaling his stomach on that ladder. And his brother, who always would beat the hell out of him, climbed up the ladder, unimpaled him, like, literally picked him up off the spike, and carried him downstairs, and called the doctor. And he's fine, don't worry, it's all good. But, holy shit, oh my God.
Hill, the Fredbear plush itself, begins to speak to Evan. As established earlier, this is one of William Afton's camera plushies, so it's safe to assume that this is William speaking to his son. In his final moments, we hear William say that it's
Final moments! Oh my God, Evan actually dies! Bro, this is just Obito getting crushed by the rock, except it actually kills him.
okay, and that he's going to put Evan back together before.
Oh shit, I was so wrong, wasn't I? I was so wrong. This isn't Evan's villain backstory. This is William Afton's Dr. Frankenstein backstory. Oh, fuck. Dude, that's nutty. This lore goes hard! What? The furries were right? Question mark?
Where everything fades out and Evan seemingly passes away. Now, if you're
God.
a big aficionado of the series, you may disagree with that placement in the story. However, this, as well as the events that happened
Oh, he's saying
directly
something controversial. I have to make fun of gay people or something to... I will be canceled with you, my friend. Never fear. Well, how do... I like gay people, so I don't know how to make fun of them. Ha! Gay!
afterwards are so debated, and there's so many different options of when this happened or this happened before this or blah blah blah. But again, as a story, this makes the most sense to me as the catalyst that began everything. William, a man who wanted to entertain children and managed to do so for decades,
Caused the death
began his
indirectly
madness
of his own child.
when one of his children used one of William's own creations to kill his other child.
That's
and then in
fucked up, bro. Oh my God.
that father's desperation,
Yeah, that definitely seems like it should be the first story in the timeline. Obviously, I don't know the rest of the timeline, and I'm seeing it from his biased perspective, but yeah, that definitely seems like an appropriate beginning, right? This is literally the villain backstory. This is the origin story. So that makes sense.
begins experiments and procedures to try to maintain the soul of a child. See that?
Maintain the soul of a child? Emotional damage? What the frick? Wait, what just happened? Man was building animatronics and had a freaking Chuck E. Cheese restaurant. He wants to maintain the soul of a child?
That's where the horror comes from. For those of you who may have not known anything else about the Five Nights at Freddy's games, you've probably heard it has to do with dead children in animatronics. And while
Wait, what? I didn't know. Whoa! I didn't know about this whole possession shit. Dude, since he's saying controversial stuff, don't worry, I'm with you. I will get canceled with you, my friend, my homie. The furries will cancel you, and they will cancel me as well. Chat, Do you know what a reverse exorcism is? It's when the demon takes the priest out of the child. Alright, anyway.
While the rules of it aren't explicitly laid clear, at least not in the video games themselves, it seems that if a child is killed by an animatronic or a piece of their body is put into that animatronic after death, that their soul possesses the animatronic itself.
Okay, alright, this is where the science goes into just supernatural bullshittery, right? There's like, until here they kind of tried to explain it with some sort of science, the way these suits ran. This is just absolute bullshittery, right? Like, I feel like this is just completely fantasy, alright?
You can essentially think
unless he makes them similar, like they have similar characteristics.
of it as a haunt or a haunted house. If someone dies...
Great idea! Let's put the soul of dead children in the bodies that killed them! Let's go! I don't know, Nux. You say this isn't scientific. Have you tried it? Yes. Yes, I've tried it.
dies in a derelict mansion, then they haunt that derelict mansion. If someone dies and their body is put inside of an animatronic, then their spirit possesses that animatronic. And that is exactly what happens here. While we do not know the details of how or why or what happened, either because Fredbear killed Evan or potentially afterwards, William put pieces or all of Evan's body into Fred.
God, that's disgusting! What the frick?
Evan's spirit possessed the Fredbear animatronic.
Emotional damage! Bro, please don't kill Michael. Fred, oh my lord.
All the color coding makes sense. This wasn't just a Sunday school teacher gimmick to make the letters look cool. It had a purpose, because now...
Oh, come on, bro. We all know it's because it was a Sunday school gimmick to make the letters look cool. Okay, dude. Dude, Wendigoon's so cool.
Evan is the spirit of Fredbear. I don't know if you can see the Fredbear good. If I turn the lights off, the reflection isn't there. So yeah, Fredbear is Evan, at least for now. I'm not sure how...
For now!
Perhaps just being around Fredbear and seeing signs that his child was still inside of the suit. Or maybe even some kind of weird science that William applied to the...
Wait a second, so if they're different colors also, does that mean they end up in suits too? What the fuck? Oh, what a mistake I'm making. Why am I getting into FNAF lore? Why am I getting into FNAF lore? This is wild. Well, listen, I keep promises. What can I say? I told you I will learn the lore of everything. Don't worry, Genshin Impact lore is coming soon. And that's not just a clown on pedophiles. Anyway.
Whenever he made it. Either way, it seems that William figured out his son Evan was inside of the Fredbear suit. As you could imagine, not only the death of William's child, but now his child being trapped in a suit of his own invention changed William's life forever. It seems that from here, William wanted to better understand what had happened to Evan. So he began to modify the aforementioned Funtime animatronics.
What do you mean, find out what happened to Evan? Evan's head was chomped. It was nommed by one of your creations. I'm really uncertain as to why he's, like, so curious about it. It seems pretty obvious, right?
With the express purpose of trapping another child so that he could figure out how the whole soul possession works.
No fucking way. This man tries to get another kid killed so he can recreate his necromancy and put another soul in another animatronic? Holy shit. Oh my god. Dude is a psycho. What the hell? This man just... Holy crap! Bro, this isn't some, I will put the soul of my dead wife in a doll so that I could still have sex. This is wild. Oh my god, this man fucked around and found out.
His primary contender in this being an animatronic known as Circus Baby. Circus Baby was specifically designed with a giant claw inside of its chest cavity.
Oh my, why would he do that if it was just to entertain children?
As well as sensors that would always calculate and determine how many people were currently in the room. He did...
Oh, why would he do that?
Did this with the intent of Circus Baby managing to get a child alone all by themselves so that its claw could then come out and grab the child before dragging it into its chest cavity to be killed.
Holy crap, bro! What is going on? So, let me get this shit straight. This dude developed this preconceived, like, with the complete mindset to kill kids. Like, that's literally why he... Oh my god, bro.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream. With all due respect, Those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
This is, at least according to my timeline.
Oh, so he gets like, they find out about it, they're like, interesting, I understand why it gives ice cream out, but why does it have a claw that targets individual children?
The beginning of William's evil and murderous intent. It seems that the death of his own child pushed William to such extreme lengths that he was now willing to kill another kid in order to either see what happened to his son or perhaps even find a way to bring him back.
Oh my god, so William Afton's the bad guy here. That's crazy. Holy frick.
Construction of Circus Baby, William's daughter Elizabeth was in love with it. Probably.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh my god, oh my god, it doesn't kill his own child now. Oh my god. This William Afton could freaking take the metal straight off of that asshole from Fullmetal Alchemist. What's his name? Shao Tucker? Shao Tucker, go away, Shao Tucker. There is a new absolute king of awful parents in town.
Probably because it was an animatronic that looked like a young girl and had the ability to serve ice cream. On the opening day of a new Freddy Fazbear's sister location known as Circus Baby's Pizza World, Elizabeth managed to get away from her father and go see Circus Baby all by herself.
Oh,
the Circus
no.
Baby animatronic,
God.
calculating that Elizabeth was the only one in the room, put out a piece of ice cream to serve her before grabbing her and bringing her into her chest.
And then crushing her with that shit.
Which Elizabeth was killed.
Oh my god, dude, that's so gross. Bro has to stop bringing his kids to restaurants. Like, this was all his fault. Holy fuck.
Did you know that I was on stage once? It wasn't for very long, only one day. I would always count the children. I'm not sure why.
Okay.
I was always acutely aware of how many there were in the room with me. There were 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Something happened when there was one, a little girl, standing by herself. I was no longer myself.
Oh, hell no.
And I stopped singing. My stomach opened, and there was ice cream. I couldn't move, at least not until she stepped closer.
Is this like from the perspective of the Circus Baby? Like, do they have some sort of mentality? Like, do they actually have some kind of conscious mind?
There was screaming for a moment, but only for a moment. I still hear her sometimes. Why did that happen?
We're never shown exactly how William reacted to this, although
probably not well, being the fact that he did not want his daughter to get murdered. Yeah, yeah.
Imagine this is never what he wanted. In Five Nights at Freddy's 5, also known as Sister Location, Elizabeth mentions many times that her father tried to keep her away, and she specifically went against his will in order to go see Circus Baby by herself.
Yeah, and realistically, that's just kids, right? You tell your kid not to do something, the kid's gonna fucking do that thing. Kids are dumb little shits, and they'll just go do whatever the hell they want. Oh, that sucks, man.
It seems that he didn't want Circus Baby to kill his daughter Elizabeth. However, that's exactly what happened. Despite this, however, his plan seemed to work, and the soul of Elizabeth began to possess the animatronic known as Circus Baby.
Oh my God.
Whenever Evan died, it was simply seen as an accident. While Michael and his friends caused the death of Evan, they were children as well, and it could be seen as a bullying.
Dude, absolutely an accident. They bullied him, it went too far, kid died, it sucked, that was awful. Circus Baby was definitely an accident as to who she killed, but there was evil intent there for sure.
Accident gone wrong. However, when Elizabeth disappeared, that raised a lot more questions. We're told in the games that the sister location known as Circus Baby's Pizza World, again, the place where Elizabeth was killed by Circus Baby, we are told that it was closed due to gas leaks. This obviously being a cover-up for this event here.
Yeah.
However, there is no way this could have happened without Henry knowing. He was essentially the acting CEO over Fazbear's Entertainment, and there's no way...
Fuck, man, he's so right. He's so right. I didn't consider that, right? This isn't just William Afton's obviously the evil psycho, but Henry's covering that shit up. This is like, oh my god, bro. This is when someone commits a crime and their friend tries to protect them. Yeah, the friend's not as guilty as the perpetrator, but goddamn.
That they would close down the brand new location on the first day due to gas leaks without him knowing any better.
Yeah,
what I think happened, and this is supported by things that happened shortly after this, is that Henry found out what William was up to. Whenever William sees that Henry has created a robot whose sole purpose is to bring in children and then kill them, it probably raised a lot of red flags. We're never told this in game, but perhaps at the same time, Henry also saw that William was trying to rebuild his son Evan, or put Evan back into the costume.
Maybe there's
or whatever.
more proof to something like this later, but that seems a little wild. For Henry to be like, yes, my business partner that I'm purely doing business things with, he's trying to bring his son back from the dead by creating child-murdering robots. Yes, yes, I'm cool with that. All right, dude.
Put you back together means. Either way, Henry was so disgusted, at least by what he...
Is there more evidence to that? I really feel like there should be more evidence to something like that. That seems like a pretty massive reach. What I feel like is more likely is, at this point, Henry realized that... Okay, I could be totally wrong. Henry realized that William created something that killed someone, because William is absolutely fucked up in the head because Evan died. And Henry could have reported William to the police for something like this, but, well, then Henry's business would have all closed down. Yep. When your business partner creates animatronics that literally murder children, well, then your business is royally screwed. And I just don't think he actually wanted to do that. He probably would have gotten the animatronics, but I don't think he thought it through that much. I don't think he considered that William was building child animatronics to literally murder children. I think Henry is more likely just complicit once it happens, just for the sake of his business being okay. It's almost like, okay, this is a very out-of-pocket example, but it's like there's a whole drama. There was a whole situation about, I don't know, a year or two ago, there was like a Twitch streamer that assaulted someone else, some other Twitch streamer, and that Twitch streamer's friends covered it up because they're friends. Like, this sort of seems like something like that. Obviously, the people that do a cover-up like this don't actually want it to transpire originally. They just don't want to face the backlash of it happening. So I think it's much more likely Henry is a businessman over here, and he wants his freaking goddamn business to keep going, and if he reports William Afton for doing this shit, well, then his business is kaput. So I feel like that's a much more likely example, and at that point, he becomes complicit in the crimes. But anyway, I could be totally wrong. I'm just talking from a bullshit third-party perspective, learning FNAF lore for the first time.
He saw with Circus Baby that he kicked William out of the company. Potentially, Henry never alerted the authorities because, for one, him and William had been friends for at least 10 years, and two...
Yeah, like Warner Brothers and Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller did all this heinous shit, and nothing ever happened to him, just because, well, much better to just cover it up. Obviously, Warner Brothers didn't want that to happen, but, you know.
William's actions has caused the death of his own daughter, so perhaps Henry saw that as punishment enough. Either way, Henry didn't alert the authorities, but he did kick William out of the business. There is a scene within a minigame in
Probably should have reported it to the police, but at least he got rid of him. Oh, God, okay.
Nights at Freddy's 6, also known as Pizzeria Simulator, and there is a part in it whenever you're playing as a little sprite that is believed to be William Afton. Again, everything in this entire series is entirely circumstantial. Okay. And while playing as William Afton, you walk up to a building called Junior's. Now, a place called Junior's is never mentioned anywhere else in the series. However, general consensus is that Junior's is the first offshoot location of Fredbear's Family Diner, which is a place known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
I don't know, why don't they call them all the same thing? I don't understand. Have you ever seen a chain where they give all of them different names? I guess it's because the animatronics aren't like mass produced. Right, so they all have different. Interesting. So all the different locations would have different names based on the different animatronics that are there, right? Because they can't actually mass produce this shit. So they can't call them all Freddy's Fazbear Pizzeria if the other one doesn't have Freddy's Fazbear. It would have a different one. Okay, all right.
So whenever William goes to the door of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the worker at the front door says, "You know you can't be here. Don't make this any harder than it has to be."
Okay, and it would make sense that this takes place after the sister location, because this is when William Afton was fired because he caused the death of some shit. Yeah, okay, all right.
Which means the person at the front door, either Henry or an employee of Henry, recognizes William and says, "You can't be here. Don't make this worse than it has to be." A lot of people say that minigame takes place during the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. However, I don't agree due to something I'll mention in a minute.
All right,
in the
okay,
rest
cool.
of that Midnight Motorist minigame, it seems that William goes home, to which someone on the couch tells him, quote, "Leave him alone, he's had a rough day."
He's probably talking about Michael, right? Because Michael lost 2 siblings to this crazy shit.
Before William goes to someone's room, yells at them to let him in, before he walks outside and sees that whoever was in the room broke the window and went to, quote, "that place again."
Oh
now,
my
this is
God.
all
So
speculation.
That's Michael. That has to be Michael out there grieving his head off. His death, his actions directly caused the death of his brother and likely also precipitated the death of his sister. This man is royally messed up.
Because most of the stuff in this series is speculation. What are you going to do? It seems to me like this person sitting on the couch is probably William's wife.
Yeah,
and
I was
although
thinking
she's
of
never
that
seen in the series again, that's the only character that can make sense here.
He had to reproduce with somebody, probably.
And the child that he is berating is his only surviving child, Michael. Michael is now terrified by his father and remorseful for the actions that he himself committed that led to the death of Evan.
Character development, oh my god. Imagine giving such character development to a character like Michael, who is in a complete out-of-sync, chronologically challenged story. They actually gave this man character development. Oh my god.
Perhaps whenever William says that Michael is going to that place again, he's referencing Freddie Fazbear's Pizzeria, because maybe Michael's trying to figure out what happened to his sister. Like I said, that was speculation, but it makes the most sense to me. The core takeaway from it is that William is now being kicked out of the locations that he helped create by his business partner, Henry.
Which makes sense. I mean, he literally created a machine to kill a child. I mean, this is completely understandable, I think.
And while Henry was in his right to do so, I mean, he found William with a child scooping animatronic that he built. Like, you can't let that guy keep working on children.
Yeah, that guy gotta go. That dude gotta go. But if you report him to the police, your business gets absolutely shut down.
Henry becomes paranoid of the idea that William will try to retaliate. During this time, William makes a new animatronic.
How do you pause this so people who are just listening look at the screen and note that correction? Not that there's anything wrong with just listening, just want to make sure you... Wait, what?
During this time, William makes
Henry makes
a new animatronic.
Wait, Henry makes an animatronic? Whoa! Okay, alright. It's good he actually gave me that whole warning with the pause shit. Wait, so Henry makes an animatronic. This is the first time. Until here, only William's been making the animatronics.
An animatronic known as the marionette or just the puppet.
Damn, that shit is scary. Oh my god. The reverse Nikocado. Oh my god, that's scary.
This puppet is designed for the express purpose of protecting Henry's daughter, Charlotte.
Wait, what? Wait, what? He made an animatronic bodyguard? Dude, this feels like such a bad call after what the last couple of animatronics did. This seems like such a terrible decision. Oh my god. So he's afraid that William Afton is gonna want to take revenge for getting kicked out of his restaurant. So he's gonna fucking build some sort of machine to kill his daughter? So he has to build a machine to protect it? Oh, this feels like such a dumbass move. My god, bro. This is gonna backfire royally.
Also known as Charlie. One day, William, perhaps in the midst of a rage towards his business partner, Henry, William decides that he is going to take from Henry what William had accidentally taken from himself.
Oh my god. So he actually does try to kill his daughter. Dude, Henry, screw the business. Get this guy in jail. What are you thinking?
Again, as we can see from many games placed throughout the video game series, one day Charlie is locked outside, to which William Afton pulls up in his vehicle, kills the young child before driving away and leaving her.
Dude, Henry, you fucking idiot. This man really let a psychopath that might take revenge on his child on the loose to keep his business intact. That is the most dystopian, crazy perspective I've ever seen. Man did a drive-by on a kid. Wait, and he's in purple. Is this the purple guy meme that shows up all over the place? Oh my god, dude. This is revenge for getting fired from the restaurant. Oh my lord. Henry, you are an absolute moron. Henry, you idiot. God, there is no money in the world that is worth leaving a guy on the loose that wants to kill your child.
Pulls up in his vehicle, kills the young child before driving away and
Dude, really does a drive-by on a kid.
Body in an alley. Now, normally, the marionette puppet would have stopped this from happening, as its entire purpose is to follow Charlie around and protect her. However, during this event, it seems that the puppet was trapped and unable to get to Charlie until it was too late. Eventually, the puppet works its way outside in order to find the young girl, to which whenever the puppet gets there, the deed has already been done. The puppet, unable to do anything else, lies down next to Charlie, to which it seems through whatever supernatural means is filled throughout.
It eats her. It fucking eats her. No, L puppet.
This narrative, the spirit of Charlie possesses the puppet. Perhaps.
Oh my god, dude, this is psycho. This is wild. So, dude, obviously I do like the horror possession aspect of it, like the supernatural horror element that makes this story actually kind of spooky. I really like the twisted dystopian minds that William and Henry have, just keeping their massive restaurant open even at the cost of their own children's lives. Like, this is some wild shit, and I feel like it's actually incredibly well thought out, if anything. I am impressed, honestly. I am impressed that the story, like, actually delves into the psychology. Well, it doesn't, but by putting the pieces together, it delves into the psychology of these characters.
William killed Charlie outside that day because it was just a moment of opportunity, or perhaps he did it away from the animatronics because at this point 2 of his own children had been killed in the proximity of an animatronic and their soul had been taken into it. And perhaps William killed Charlie outside in order to prevent her from possessing an animatronic.
Interesting. I just feel like it's more, like, obviously this is coming from me, a guy who's learning about this right now, but it really feels like while the puppet was around, he wouldn't get a clean shot. And he knew he would only get one clean shot. Because at this point, Henry made the puppet as a speculation that William might take revenge to take down to kill his daughter because he fired him from the restaurant. So at this point, since it's only a speculation, he has one shot. If he actually would try to kill Charlie and fail because the puppet protects her, at that point, Henry would definitely call the police. The only reason why Henry didn't call the police about William and Circus Baby until now was because he had some sort of plausible deniability that William wouldn't come after Charlie, even though, in his darkest recesses of his mind, his capitalistic perspective stopped him from realizing that William Afton is an absolute goddamn freaking psycho. So, what Henry did, so William realized this was the one opportunity he would have because the puppet wasn't there, so he took that chance to kill Charlie unimpeded. And at that point, Henry's not going to call the police because he's going to want some vigilante justice. Like, right? I feel like that's the only way this is going to go. Calling the police is not going to be enough for Henry because in his mind, it would tear him up that he didn't do that before. So he's actually going to go for some kind of vigilante justice. Like, he might try to kill Michael. God, this is fucked up. I'm loving it.
However, despite his efforts, as noted here, the spirit of Charlie now possesses the marionette puppet. I like the idea of Charlie being the first murder victim of William.
Yeah, instead of just an animatronic. But I also like how stylistically different the puppet is to all of William's designs. Like, you can see that William Afton and Henry are 2 different artists, right? I like that.
Puppet. I like the idea of Charlie being the first murder victim of William, not only because it matches the story more and it makes the first intentional kill more purposeful, but in the events that follow, the animatronics are only possessed because the puppet attaches that spirit to each animatronic. So in order
But also, that's true. I like what you're saying. This order actually fits really well because you see the development of William Afton's fucked up head, right? It starts off with William doesn't actually kill anyone. It's a complete accident where his Michael bullies Evan and Evan gets killed. Then William has the intent to murder a kid, but not the actual intent to kill a specific kid, right? And, you know, poor Elizabeth ends up getting killed by Circus Baby, kind of not intentionally, even though he definitely is a psycho. This point is an even further development into the degeneracy of William Afton actually just murdering a child.
For any of the victims to possess future animatronics, the puppet has to be dead first. Not only that, but a line that Henry says in Pizzeria Simulator heavily implies that his child was the first victim of William's killing spree.
Not until I undo what he has done and heal this wound. A wound first inflicted on me, but then one that I let bleed out to cause all of this.
Interesting. So I guess that could be perceived that this was the first kill, even though I think it's more likely that this is the first intentional kill.
So due to Charlie's death, the restaurant is shut down. A couple years later, it reopens as the new and improved Freddie Fazbear's Pizza. I think it is shortly after the reopening of Freddie Fazbear's Pizza that the missing children's incident occurs. For those that don't know, there is a mention in the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and at the time this was the only lore for the overall series that we ever got, in which a newspaper clipping says that 5 children went missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and that's the reason it got shut down.
Okay, 5, right? But we don't know 5. So this has to be in the future, right? Because seemingly the first 2 were Elizabeth and Evan.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that got shut down because 5 children went missing is the current pizza place that I'm talking about in the timeline.
Okay.
And I'll pull the timeline back up in a second to look at, but I want to add the final names to this board first. But in short, we have the original Fredbear's Family Diner, and then we have some restaurants like Circus Baby's Pizza World that opened and get closed, and maybe some other projects that we're not told about in the series. But after Fredbear's, we get Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Charlie is killed outside of it, so it is shut down and now reopened. It is shortly after this reopening, I think the missing children's incident occurs, and here's why. Whenever you are playing as the security guard, a man by the name of Jeremy Fitzgerald in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, phone guy, or the guy who is giving you the instructional messages over the phone, says that you are at the new reopened Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
So this is the first game that came out, right? So it's very likely that No, this is FNAF 2, right? What was the first game that came out? The one after this is the first game that came out. Okay, this is FNAF 2. Okay.
And over the course of that week, he says that an investigation is taking place.
Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close a few days.
Now we know that.
So it's really interesting. Ultimately, you, the security guard, is probably like the least interesting character in the entire story, right? That's wild. Okay.
The Five Nights at Freddy's 2, that week that you're playing as the security guard, take place in 1987. Most people say that the missing children's incident happened before the old restaurant was ever shut down. Or in other words, around the same time that Charlie was killed. However, that wouldn't make sense if it's a current investigation. Think about it. If the children disappeared in 1985 and all that time had passed, why would the investigation now just be starting in 1987?
True. Wait.
We know that the
True. Hold up. That's so based. Yes, investigations should start literally the next day.
Is not over the bite.
Everyone in chat spamming 87 ... Oh God, what does that mean?
Of 87.
The bite of 87! I knew I've heard this meme before. I don't know what the hell that means, though.
Because that happens at the end of the work week. Also, to make sure everyone's still in the loop, in the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, which takes place after the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I know there's prequels and sequels all over the place. The phone guy in the first game mentions that the old location, the location from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, was shut down due to something known as the Bite of 87, in which an animatronic bit out someone's frontal lobe.
Oh my God! Okay, hold up. And so that takes place in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 because that happens in, 1987, obviously. Okay, I see. So interesting. So this is the second time an animatronic really bites someone's head, right?
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day, too. But then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe.
What? How a body can live without the frontal lobe? He's just casually dropping that? What is happening?
You know?
So a lot of...
Yeah. I hope you're enjoying being a security guard here. It's been closed down because of the bite of 87. Wild that a body can live without a frontal lobe, you know? Okay.
People say, oh, well, the investigation that's happening over the course of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the Bite of 87. But like I said, that happens to Jeremy Fitzgerald, the security guard you play as in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, at the end of the work week. So what is the investigation?
Whoa! Okay. The Bite of 87. Okay, Hold on! Bro, this is like when you sign up to a job and they just don't tell you the little details. So this security guard, the person you play as in FNAF 2, is the victim of the Bite of 87. So this investigation obviously can't be about the Bite of 87, because this is taking place in 87. The end of FNAF 2 is the Bite of 87. So this investigation has to be the disappearances of the children before. Okay.
Happening over the course of the week itself. Well, on the 4th night in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the phone guy says there is an investigation happening. On the 5th night, he says that the business is on lockdown. And then finally on the 6th night, he says that you're not even supposed to be here. Someone used one of the yellow suits in the back, and now none of the animatronics are acting right.
Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. Maybe the closed days, I don't know.
Okay.
Hey, keep a close eye on things, okay? From what I understand, no one is allowed in or out, from any previous employees.
Previous employees. Okay.
What are you doing there? The place is closed down for a while.
Someone used one of the suits, a yellow one.
We had a spare in the back, a yellow one.
We find out in later installments that
God.
what had happened during this time is William Afton donned his spring Bonnie or bunny suit that he used to wear back at Fredbear's before luring children into the back room and killing them one by one.
So dude just became an actual murderer. Man just became a child serial killer. God damn. Holy shit. That's Pog. Dude, how is this not in the news and closed down? Did they really keep it why didn't Henry wreck this shit if this was going on? He literally knows this guy is going around killing children. You'd think that he would, report an actual serial killer, right? Dude, what the hell, man? That's wild. Okay, so we got lots of questions here. I feel like he killed all 5 of them in the same day. I don't know, I feel like he wants revenge. What, so he wants revenge to the point that he's not going to stop William from killing more children? Is he that fucked up? I don't know, I feel like Henry ain't no snitch. Okay, dude, please! Sometimes you gotta be a snitch!
We don't know William's motive for doing this. Perhaps he was doing it to try to experiment on the same conditions that caused 2 of his children to possess animatronics, or perhaps it was just an evil bloodlust that set in after the now death of 3 children in his life, one of them directly murdered by him. Either way, 5 children were killed, and it seems that in order to cover his tracks, William stuffed their bodies inside of the animatronics in the building itself.
Oh!
I believe that this missing children's incident, or in other words, the murder of 5 children, occurred immediately before Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Yeah.
And that is the investigation.
So that's the investigation. Okay, and the bite of 87 is what happens at the end of FNAF 2, and it's what happens to the security guard. Okay, so dumb question, how is William able to get into the restaurants and pilot all these suits if he was fired by Henry at this point? He was able to do this enough to kill 5 children. I feel like Henry has to know what's going on, right? Like, there's no way William's going around doing this shit when he's fired from the company and Henry knows what's going on, and you are a security guard. I don't know. I feel like there's something missing. There's something that's missing between what we just saw, between FNAF 2 and that mini game with the Henry's kid that died. Like, I feel like this has to be maybe before. Like, I don't want to insult my boy's timelines. Wendigo did so much more. Maybe he's going to explain in a moment, but I feel like FNAF 2 had to be before Charlie's killed, right? Because otherwise Henry would be way more on top of keeping this guy at bay.
Phone guy's referring to which at the end of the week he says someone wore one of the yellow suits and now none of the animatronics are acting right. It's even mentioned at this Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that they trashed
Right, none of them are acting right because they're all possessed by the souls of the 5 kids that he killed. Okay, alright. Someone wore one of the yellow suits, William, and none of the kids are acting right. Okay, I'm starting to see it. It's also interesting, I noticed, in this... not the sister location. Was it the sister location? In one of them, the one with the diner scene, the diner that no one knew what that diner restaurant was, he was yellow, right? Let me see if I can find it. Right here.
Henry, make this any
here. This is William Afton as yellow somehow, right? And he wore a yellow suit when he killed all those kids. Come on, you can't be here. Don't make this more difficult than it has to be. Maybe this is when that happened. Maybe this is when it took place. Because normally he's depicted as purple, right? Like when he killed the kid, when he did that hit and run, he was purple. Like here. This is William Afton, purple. However, in the juniors, he's yellow, right? But he wore the yellow suit when he went and killed those people in FNAF 2. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Children in his life, one of them directly murdered by him. Either way, 5 children were killed, and it seems that in order to cover his tracks, William stuffed their bodies inside of the animatronics in the building itself. I believe that this missing children's incident, or in other words, the murder of 5 children, occurred immediately before Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Yeah.
Acting right. It's even mentioned at this Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that they trashed the old animatronics and got brand new ones known as the toy animatronics. And those old ones seem to be
Nico, let's go! Listen, the furries know what they're doing.
perfect place to store the bodies of his victims. Remember earlier how I said the Midnight Motorist minigame is believed by most to occur during Five Nights at Freddy's 2? And the reason William isn't allowed back into the building is because he would have just murdered 5 children? Well, the reason I don't think that's the case is because if you go all the way back to the first game, and again, read the newspaper clipping about the missing children's incident, it says that the suspect who wore the costume has been identified and apprehended. Of course, he was...
What? Okay, that changes everything. So then it's not William Afton.
Never convicted because they couldn't find the bodies. I don't know why they never checked the reeking animatronics, but that...
They couldn't find the bodies? Dude, they have these animatronics that probably smell like rotting corpses. What? They couldn't find the bodies? Okay, dude.
That's besides the point. So if Midnight Motorist takes place during the investigation of the children that William had murdered, which keep in mind, during the course of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, all happened in the span of about a week, there is no way William would have got to the pizza restaurant and been turned away because he currently would have been in police custody.
Yeah.
And also, I know this is being like super hypercritical of specific story moments, which doesn't always work, but I still think it's kind of weird. If William had just murdered 5 children, and this isn't like debatable if he murdered 5 children, this is he was identified and arrested and they just can't find the bodies to convict him. But it's known by everyone around that William killed those kids.
All right.
I think him, when he's supposed to be in police custody, coming to the door of the restaurant and then the bouncer being like, hey, you're
not supposed to be here. True. Yeah, it's a little extreme. That's why he put that story earlier. Okay, I get that. Unless that bouncer was Henry, no, but he killed Charlie. You're right. No, dude, this story is fucked up. This timeline is wild. Okay.
Doesn't that seem like a very
warm response to a guy that just murdered 5 children?
Low power push off to a guy who just murdered 5 kids in your restaurant? That sounds much more like William was doing some shady stuff and accidentally killed his own daughter and got kicked out. Not he murdered 5 kids like last week.
Wow, he said that really nonchalantly. Oh, God. Stop right there, criminal scum.
He should be at police custody at this point. Midnight Motorist happens before the death of Charlie, not during Five Nights at Freddy's 2. You can fight me about it.
I'm happy he mentioned that because... if you remember, like just 2 minutes ago when I was skipping around in this video, I said it seems from this like it's more likely that Midnight Motors would take place in FNAF 2 just because he's yellow and he wore the yellow suit. But I'm glad he's at least like addressing it and talking about why he doesn't think that's the case, even though it does kind of look like the case, right? Guy shows up in a yellow suit, and then you have a guy working there who knew William Afton, right? And stop, you violated the law! You know what I'm saying?
Find out these names from a point later in the series, but the 5 children who were killed by William Afton during the incident were Gabriel, Fritz, Susie, Jeremy, and Cassidy. And those children were placed into the bodies and subsequently possessed Freddie, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, and Fredbear, respectively. Now, it's not known if William put the bodies into the animatronics, or that's indicated in the puppet mini-games throughout the series, that the puppet, now being possessed by Charlie, went through and attached each of those children to the animatronics themselves. Or more specifically, we know that the puppet was responsible for giving life to these kids. We don't know if that means some more spiritual or metaphorical action, or if the puppet took the murder victims and placed them inside of the animatronics.
Honestly, if it is some sort of more spiritual thing, well, that would explain why they couldn't find the bodies, right? I guess.
Either way, the bodies couldn't be found because the bodies of the children were inside of the animatronic.
Wait, so Fredbear is possessed by Evan and Cassidy? Or were these the new toy versions of those products?
Themselves. Again, we don't know if the puppet or William did that. Like I said, according to my timeline, this happens immediately before the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So the reason that the animatronics are trying to kill the security guard, Jeremy Fitzgerald, in that game is because 5 of them are possessed by the spirits of children murdered by William Afton.
Okay.
As we see in several of the flashback minigames, William Afton is depicted as a purple figure, also known as
A purple guy, some would even say.
guy, wearing a security badge. So
Oh, interesting.
it's more than likely that William gained access to the restaurant and was able to kill these kids and don the Spring Bonnie suit because he pretended to be a security guard and wore the
Right.
purple security guard vest. This would explain...
So William Afton is purple guy? So I know obviously I heard of purple guy because I've existed on the internet and I've run Rule 34 tournaments. But, dude, so William Afton is purple guy. I guess that's why he put him in purple over here. He is the famous purple guy? Okay.
why 5 children who have recently been killed try to kill the first person they see wearing a purple security uniform.
Wow, that's royally screwed up. So these kids that are possessing these animatronics aren't some sort of vindictive spirits that want to kill anyone. They want to kill the security guard because they think the security guard is William Afton. Wow. Okay. That makes it so much more tragic. Oh my god. It's just like a completely pointless murder. Bruh.
Phone calls that I've mentioned are pretty much the only way that the character gets any world or lore relevance for the first couple games. At the end of the Night 6 phone call, Phone Guy tells Jeremy, again the security guard that you're playing as, that he has one job left to do before the restaurant closes down for a while. That job is he has to watch over a children's birthday party the next day and make sure he wears his purple security uniform and stand very close to the animatronics.
He sets him up to die. He actually sets him up to die. He wears the purple uniform so that they'll go after someone wearing a purple uniform, and then he puts the security guard next to them wearing that same uniform to take the fall, to assuage the rage of these kids that he murdered. That is so brutal. What?
We have one more event day. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform. Stay close to the animatronics. Make sure they don't hurt anyone.
This
close to the animatronics. Damn, bro.
Causes the event on the final day of the restaurant's opening, known as the Bite of 87, in which one of the animatronics bites Jeremy Fitzgerald, ripping out his frontal lobe. This, as you can imagine, was very...
is the Bite of 87. Okay.
Bad PR for the company, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shut down at the time for good. And then on the 7th night, the final night that the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is opened, a new security guard comes in to work only one night by the name of Fritz Smith. Fritz is never mentioned
my god, is that an Attack on Titan reference?
Anywhere else in the timeline, although it's weird that in a restaurant where people are actively dying due to the animatronics, some random guy would come in to work one night.
Bro, listen, in this economy, you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do. Listen, if it pays the bills, it pays the bills. Am I right, guys? Or what's the worst thing that'll happen? All right, that was dark.
For reasons I'm going to explain later, I believe Fritz Smith is an alias for Michael Afton, who is now out and trying to find answers to his father's wrongdoings. The last thing I want to mention at the time...
True, because Smith sounds like... Smith is the ultimate, just alias name, right? John Smith is like the go-to name that someone takes when they don't want to give their actual information. So you think that Michael is Fritz Smith? Bro, I was going to say $20 is $20. Listen, I'll give you a blowjob in an alley in this economy. I thought it was something more like that. But, oh my god, it is Michael trying to find out the truth. Okay, that's crazy. All right, that would make sense that his name is Smith, right? I guess. Damn.
Timeline backup is that if you'll notice here, Cassidy is said to possess Fredbear. But if you'll also look up here...
I was looking at that's what I said earlier. Dude, Wendigoon, you're so sexy when you say these things.
Is also possessing Fredbear. All the animatronics in the series that have been possessed can move around on their own free will except for Fredbear. The primary belief for this is, if you'll remember, the Fredbear...
Is it because Fredbear did... No, but Fredbear did kill him. Oh, no, Fredbear didn't kill him. He died himself later. No, that's...
Costume is both a costume and an animatronic. So if you...
Oh! All the others are full animatronics. This one is able to do both. Okay, I see that.
Were to have it set on costume mode and just laying in a corner and someone's to possess that, they can't move and are essentially stuck inside of a decrepit mascot uniform.
Oh, God,
whereas
dude.
all these other ones who are possessed are functioning animatronics
So
and
they
are
can
able
actually
to
move
move about
themselves.
on their own free will.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh my God. Evan just gets sadder and sadder as it goes. So Evan, he's this kid. He's tormented by his brother. He ends up getting his head chomped and nommed on by a freaking giant mascot animatronic creature. He ends up dying in his bed. His corpse gets put into Fredbear. He ends up possessing Fredbear, but Fredbear, since it can't move itself, it's not an animatronic, it's just a suit. He can't even pilot it. He is just a soul trapped to the mascot that killed him for eternity. What the hell kind of child trauma is that?
In the Five Nights at Freddy's survival logbook, yes, that's a real phrase I just said out loud. Without going into all the specifics, it seems that there is a conversation taking place between two hidden authors on the pages themselves. For example, there will be faded text asking, "Do you remember your name?" and then responses written in the text elsewhere in the book.
Okay,
it's two
wild.
people having a conversation with each other, and without going into the nitty-gritty of how this was determined, because again, it was a lot. By the way, I didn't mention this enough earlier. Big shout out to Game Theory, also known as
Game Theory! Yeah!
Like, I understand he has also done the thing I mentioned where people get hyper-focused on the details and forget the story, but none of this would be possible without the amount of work and research that guy and his community has done.
He made
to figure out
65 plus videos on one channel, let alone all the film theories.
all of this information to the point where a lot of the flippant facts that I'm giving you wouldn't be known if it wasn't for his videos. So gotta respect your forerunners that came before you. So
Let's
again,
go.
thank you, Matpat. But
Base,
due to
base,
work most
base, dude. And I'll take this moment to say, I like Matpat. I really do. And listen, just because I shit on him sometimes for making terrible One Piece theories or whatever, it doesn't mean I don't like the guy. I really have so much respect for him, honestly. Listen, he's never watched porn.
done by him, it is determined that there are two souls possessing the Fredbear animatronic. These two souls being Cassidy and Evan, as mentioned earlier. And also, they can't move. They're just stuck in a suit talking to each other. So that's, you know.
At least they have company. That's a dub. That's a dub. Evan talked to a woman. Better than you can chat. All you guys at chat wish you could be like Evan.
Pretty sad. Alright, so just to recap everyone to make sure we're on the same page. 1970, William and Henry start Fredbear's Family Diner. In the 80s, the business expands into several restaurants and more of a corporate entity. In 1983 is when the events of FNAF 4 happened, where Michael kills Evan using the mouth of the Fredbear animatronic, and all of the nightmares that Evan has take place during that time. Because of this, William builds the Circus Baby animatronic with the intention to kill and kidnap a child. And I say both in 1983, they were probably in the same year, maybe 1984, whatever. So in 1983, Circus Baby kills Elizabeth. And shortly after that, the events of Midnight Motorist take place, where Henry kicks William out of the business. This causes William to get angry and Henry to get paranoid.
Very
so Henry
unhappy.
builds the puppet to protect Charlie.
That doesn't work out at all because this absolute psycho does a hit and run somehow.
To which William then kills Charlie, and the puppet is possessed by the spirit of Charlie. Because of that, Fredbear and Friends shuts down, and it's later reopened probably around 1985, sometime between 85 and 87, and it's reopened and rebranded as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. New animatronics are brought in to take the place of the old ones. This is around the same time that the missing children's incident occurs, right before Five Nights at Freddy's. So the bodies of the children from the missing children incident, either by William or the puppet, are stuffed
now
into
in
the old animatronics.
And those five also have souls. Dude, this story is actually kind of sick. I'm not going to lie, I am actually impressed. I really thought this would just be like a series of random horror games and jump scares. I didn't think there would actually be a stretching, sprawling storyline of values and like crazy psychological breakdowns of these characters. I am so impressed thus far. But anyway, we're only about halfway there. Let's keep going. I'm telling you, I will learn every bit of lore the internet has to offer. Ezzy W, thank you for the sub.
which leads directly into the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. At the end of that week, the bite of 87 occurs, which is when during the day shift, one of the animatronics bites Jeremy Fitzgerald's frontal lobe out, technically not killing him because it's mentioned in Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
Right, that you could live without a frontal lobe. The most wild thing I've ever heard anyone say.
Without a frontal lobe, but that doesn't mean he lived well or for very long afterwards. I have spring lock failures mentioned here. That doesn't mean directly in 1987. Whenever we get to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, there's a mention on one of the recorded tapes that one of the restaurants was shut down for having several spring lock failures.
After learning that two locations involved simultaneous spring lock failures, temporarily wait for employees.
And then finally, on the final night...
spring lock failure is just all the mechanics inside the robot jumping back into place where people should be sitting and crushing whoever would be inside. Which is bad!
Night that the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is opened, Michael comes to work as the night guard on night 7 under the alias of Fritz Smith before he is fired when the place is shut down. You good? Did that all make sense? We good? Good, because now I'm on to the first game. No.
Well, we made it to Five Nights at Freddy's 1, ladies and gentlemen. We're after the lobotomized security guards, after the 5 children getting murdered, the kid that got hit by a hit and run, as well as the 2 children that sort of accidentally got killed by animatronics. We are here, ready for the first game, baby! God, I love when horror series are out of order.
Not kidding. We're now ready to talk about the original Five Nights at Freddy's. Do you see why this is so confusing? People give creators like matpat and stuff a hard time for this, but like if you were in it whenever this was happening, you had to just totally guess about everything I just said because we got...
It's like a really detailed backstory. Like, it puts you in the headspace of William, the guy that lost a kid, grieved, developed something to maybe find a way to get his kid back, and inadvertently ended up killing his other kid, alright? To wind up getting fired from the thing he created, to be in such a downward spiral. His only surviving son won't talk to him and will literally break out of the window to run away when his dad talks to him, to the point that this man ends up killing 5 children. He becomes a serial killer that kills 5 children. The mind of Henry, someone who has kept all of this completely swept under the rug to keep his business alive, only to have this mass murder end up killing his daughter. Who knows what this man's gonna end up doing? He's probably gonna go for some sort of vigilante justice because he doesn't, at this point, call the police either. Like, this is incredibly detailed psychological story writing of 2 characters that are not even pretty much mentioned. This is incredible! Anyway, I'm sorry for getting all worked up. I just love stories. I love stories so much. Alright, let's do it.
And newspaper clippings as to what happened. Like, yeah, a lot of the theories got kind of ridiculous and out there, but man, there was so much we were filling in the gaps for. So now we are finally to the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 occurring in 1993. In it, a security guard by the name of Mike Schmidt gets a...
Mike Schmidt? Wait, so is this Mike Schmidt? A guy who changed his last name from Afton? Bruh! Is lore sexier than porn? Dude, so true. Some good lore? Oh, man. Oh, some good lore will get me all riled up. Bro, so is Mike Schmidt Michael Afton?
A night job at
is the main character of the first game the son of the guy who caused his 2 siblings? Yo, that's so crazy. Alright, let's see.
He reopened Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So last time, I'll go through the restaurants, at least for now. We had Fredbear's Family Diner, which is the one where Evan got his head chopped, and then that shut down. We had Fredbear and Friends, which is the one where Charlie was murdered outside of, and that got shut down.
Okay, bro, you gotta stop. How are people still going to these restaurants?
Had Freddy Fazbear's Pizza open, which is where 5 children were murdered, and 1 security guard had the front part of his brain taken out, and that was shut down. And now finally we have Freddy Fazbear's Pizza reopening, and Michael working as the security guard. The reason I'm so confident...
Michael! He said it, okay.
...saying that Michael is Mike Schmidt is because, for one, Mike's name is Mike. And also, in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and Five Nights at Freddy's 1, whenever Fritz and Mike are fired, on the pink fire slip, it says that they were fired due to odor. While this probably...
Yo, Mike just like me, for real, for real! Let's go! Fired due to odor. Pfft, this is... They just don't understand this Sigma grind set. Being a smelly guy is just part of what makes me such a Sigma male.
started out as just a joke in the first one. I think it is enough of a clue in to tell us that this is the same person. And also, it makes the most sense for a storyline.
Yeah.
Because if these guys aren't Michael, then in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, some random guy showed up for one night to fight for his life against animatronics and then never showed up again. And then in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, you have a guy who is almost being murdered by animatronics every night he's working there, but then comes back to work the next day.
Yeah, why is he coming back? He's obviously mega committed to finding out the truth here, right? Yeah, I see it, man. I see it. That's crazy.
It only makes sense to me if this is Michael who is braving these horrors in order to try to right his father's wrongs, or at least figure out what happened to his father. It's like Chekhov's gun. It would be completely pointless to...
See, the one thing that I could think of is perhaps because it's the first game, maybe, just maybe, he filled this in the blanks later because there wasn't such a storyline yet. But no, I don't think so. I really don't think... No. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree!
Introduce two characters who never show up again and have no other plot relevance, when you can have one character fill both of those roles and make the story more meaningful. Anyway, it's mentioned by Phone Guy in the original Five Nights at Freddy's that they took...
I love how these characters named Purple Guy and Phone Guy, and it's like, we don't have anything we're working on, we're just kind of doing all this.
The animatronics from the FNAF 2 location, the old decrepit one, and gave them a remodel, and those are now the animatronics they're using on stage. So, in other words, the animatronics that are possessed by the dead children just got a remodel, and now they're back on stage again. And once again, the reason they are trying to kill you, the player, which is also you, Michael Afton, is because you're dressed in the security uniform of the man that killed them.
Okay, so really we're following that same vein of just these kids that are possessing these creatures are just going to kill anyone in a purple security uniform. Just because they want to take revenge on Michael Afton, the guy that murdered them. I mean, I guess it's simplistic enough that some sort of soul possessing an animatronic can... I guess I could buy that. I guess that's also a theory though, right? That's not confirmed.
And probably, since it's Michael, also looks a little bit like him too. I also didn't mention this earlier. There's a lot of people who say William's real tally is like 10 children that he murdered. However, that doesn't show up anywhere in the story, and the main reason they say that is so all of the animatronics that try to attack you in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the toy animatronics and the old ones, are all possessed, so that would make sense. However, it's mentioned by the Phone Guy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that the toy animatronics have a facial recognition system that is connected to a criminal database, so that they will be able to alert anyone or know if there's any predators among the children. At least that's what Phone Guy says. To say that...
Okay, this is just so overly complicated! But that's just a theory, a gay theory! Wait, what? Okay, we'll have to hear that one more time, I'm sorry.
That is connected to a criminal database. Toy animatronics have a facial recognition system. Guy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, that the toy animatronics have a facial recognition system that is connected to a criminal database, so that they will be able to alert anyone or know if there's any predators among the children.
Wait, hold up. The excuse for this facial recognition garbage was because what if a pedophile walks into the restaurant, we want the animatronics to go beat the shit out of him? That is so based! Oh, what? That's awesome! Okay, sure. This is 90s technology, by the way.
At least that's what Phone Guy says, who's to say they can't also attack people linked to that database. And since the puppet was there at Five Nights at Freddy's 2, remember the one that started all of this, and we know that the puppet can manipulate animatronics, at the very least Charlie put the bodies of the children into the old animatronics so that they'd be possessed. What's to say the puppet didn't change the facial recognition so that they would just kill anyone in a security guard uniform? Again, that would also explain the bite of 87. And like,
no, I like the whole bite of 80. Forget the facial recognition shiz. I feel like that's a little why this is where your tax dollars are going. And forget the whole recognizing stuff. I get the idea that a purple guy killed them, so now they're just killing everyone dressed in a purple suit, just as like some vindictive, vengeful spirit. That makes sense. The bite of 87. Yes, that's the bite of 87. But I feel like you don't need to dive into facial recognition software to go ahead with this.
Like, especially when you see where the story goes from here and very specifically where the story ends, it doesn't make any sense if there's like another 5 children whose souls are just out there somewhere.
Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense if the only children Michael killed were Charlie and then the 5 children at the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 location. Also, everyone wants to say in like all the theories I looked at that William killed a bunch of kids down here. I guess.
No, that literally destroys his character. Okay, listen, I'm not trying to defend this man. Man's obviously not the nicest of fellows. But the point is, his character, the reason why, in my headcanon right now at least, that he got as screwed up as he did is because one son died because of his robot. Then he created a technology to learn more about that, and it ended up killing his daughter. That's what drove him insane. Not because he just happens to be a child serial killer.
It's because he was in like a silly, goofy mood. Because everyone tries their hardest, and I'm not talking about anyone specifically. This is just like the general air from the community.
In other words, he's making fun of matpat. All right, based anyway.
Everyone tries so hard to make this story as one-dimensional as possible and just say, William, bad, he killed kids here, he killed kids.
Based all you guys ask me why am I watching Wendigoon and not other people? Because Wendigoon is based. Because he is awesome. Yeah, that's right. I love Wendigoon. Man is incredibly based for this.
Again, and that's it. And while, yes, William bad, it is William reason for bad that I think is interesting and the reason that this story's always intrigued me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If he would just be some serial killer, it would just be so much less interesting of a story.
Son was killed by his other son using an invention of his own making, and then he lost his mind trying to figure out how his son's soul could be preserved that led to the death of his daughter and then everything afterwards.
Yeah!
The story becomes much more interesting when you view this as humans with motives rather than just insert generic bad guy, killed child
so true.
On to scene 2.
You're right.
Anyway, so the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 takes place, in which you can see the 4 animatronics, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Freddie coming to kill you, as well as apparitions of Fredbear, known to most of the community as Golden Freddy. Whenever you take into account...
I've heard of Golden Freddy. Okay, this is that. Yo, freaking love Wendy. What a cool guy. He's so cool. I love the way he breaks apart stories and stuff.
Count that Evan
it's so much more personable than just a completely emotionally detached theory, you know?
Could be the spirit inside of Fredbear. It becomes much more impactful whenever Fredbear says, "It's me," to Michael Afton. Because that...
What? Okay, dude, I know. I walked into this with zero info. What happened?
Bear says of Fredbear. Whenever you take into account that Evan could be the spirit inside of Fredbear, it becomes much more impactful whenever Fredbear says, "It's me," to Michael Afton.
Holy shit. He's saying it's me, the person you killed. That's dark as shit, bro. Dude, and this is in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Long before we learned about that whole backstory. Dog. Okay, dude, the furries were right. What could I say?
Because that is Michael's younger brother who he killed, pointing out to him, "It's me,"
dude,
over and over again before killing him in his office, at least.
That's insane. That's insane. It's Freddy time. And Fredbear said it's Freddy time, and Freddy'd all over the place.
You know, if you lose the game. But during this entire time, William is released by the police. Again, they have the camera footage of him being the last one seen with the children, but they can't find the bodies and can't pin anything on him. So shortly after the events of the first Five Nights at Freddy's, William goes to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in order to cover up his evidence. This is the flashback games that we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where William goes into the restaurant and begins disassembling the animatronics.
Dude, so this is our purple guy, as it were. He remains as William throughout every single one of these episodes.
Now we find out later in Sister Location that he took pieces of those animatronics and then rebuilt them into the framework of the Funtime animatronics. If you'll remember, Circus Baby was one of those, which was this private collection he had made. And now he is disassembling the animatronics that are possessed by the spirits of the children he killed and reassembling them into these animatronics of his own creation.
Why is he doing this, though? Like, I feel like this doesn't fit into his... Like, I understood a motivation for pretty much everything he's done until this point. Now he just seems like he's just completely lost the rocker. Now he wants to fuck around and find out. Okay, interesting.
We know that this has to take place after Five Nights at Freddy's 1 because in those flashbacks he completely destroys the original 4 animatronics. And before the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 5, also known as Sister Location. Because in Sister Location, all of the old animatronics have been reassembled by William into these new Funtime animatronics.
Okay.
And based on how these flashbacks end, there's
Dude,
no
it's so cool how they get pieced together. That's awesome. All right, cool.
way he could have done that after the flashbacks. It had to be Dirk.
Okay, at this point, I just want to know what Henry's doing. I'm literally just so curious as to what Henry's doing throughout all of this. Henry's daughter gets killed by William Afton. He not only does he not tell the police, but he doesn't actually do anything about it. Come on, man.
Because at the end of this minigame, we see the souls come out of the animatronics that William had been disassembling and attack William himself. Within the ruins of the derelict Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, William becomes frightened and decides to hide inside of the Spring Bonnie suit. However, if you'll remember, these suits are
These suits had mistakes! There was mistakes in the mechanics of the suits. They had a issue with the... Wait a second. Is he gonna die? Is he gonna go into the suit and himself get killed?
designed so that the animatronic components can be twisted to the sides in order to make room for someone to step into the costume. However, there is a mention in the series
that there were malfunctions.
If these suits get old or wet, there is a chance of a spring lock failure. Or in other words, the animatronic components
will go and crush whoever is sitting inside the suit. And he tries to fuck around with these animatronics that he trapped the souls of children he killed in, right? He ends up getting them all out, they spook him, and he ends up walking... Dude, this is poetic justice up the wazoo.
Shooting back into place while someone is still wearing it. So as William puts on the old suit in order to shield himself from the children...
Oh my god, that is vile. Okay, dude, I think my guy was covering it here. Dude, look at this. Look at this scene. Dude, I love just the low quality graphics. Dude, just absolutely crushing him. This serial killer.
He is killed by a spring lock failure. And as the spirits of the children he murdered slip away, William bleeds to death in the now abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I don't want to take the timeline back down, and I don't even know how much of this you can see whenever I hang it up. But
that's crazy. Spring lock failure. He just gets impaled and bleeds to death. Incredibly based. Awesome. Hell yeah, I love that. Deserved. So he's gone. So Purple Guy's dead. That's a poetic character.
As you can see here, I have William listed on the bottom as Springtrap. Springtrap is the name that people give Spring Bonnie after William possesses the suit, because the rules still apply. If you die inside of a suit or your body's inside of it, you are now the possessed soul who is controlling that suit. So William now exists.
So he's not full. Oh my god. So he's not out of the picture. He's dead. He's 100% dead. But he's now possessing this Spring Bonnie, Springtrap suit.
As one of these derelict souls, controlling Spring Bonnie, again known as Springtrap. In events we see later in the game, someone in control at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza decides to fill up all of the old rooms in the old business locations.
All employees at different safe room locations.
Alright.
Room will be here most of the day today. Construct a fall over the old door.
That someone most definitely has to be Henry. So around 1995, William is entombed.
Wait, so Henry literally did nothing until William died to his own degeneracy?
In the back room of an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, now possessing the suit known as Springtrap. It is at this point that Sister Location or Five Nights at Freddy's 5 takes place. The reason it has to happen here is because William dies, or at least stops living and starts possessing...
He dies, or at least rather he stops living.
A suit that
So this is Quite's boyfriend, Springtrap. Interesting. I'm learning so much about my friends.
His decomposing corpse in it at the end of these Five Nights at Freddy's 3 minigames. So he couldn't have put the spirits of the dead children or components of their suits.
Right. Obviously, he couldn't have done any of that if he was dead by then. So this literally has to take place now because he has been an active human character until this point. Good logic. Great logic.
into the Funtime animatronics after that happened. And because we see him taking apart the animatronics in those minigames, I'm going to say that he disassembled them and then reassembled them into the Funtime animatronics at the same time. So shortly after William dies and gets walled up into a back room in a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
I'm gonna say something that's probably controversial just based on my lack of depth in this area. But I'm gonna say that Henry didn't exist at this point. I'm going to say that at this point in the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, as it was being created, I think that it's very likely that the plan originally was just about William, right? William existed, William started these restaurants, he became screwed up. The whole Henry idea and the clown puppet thing killing, I feel like that's all a much later addition, or Henry would have been present in these games somehow, right?
Michael decides to go figure out more about what his father was doing. It's there that Michael goes to an underground storage facility that is specifically made for the Fazbear Entertainment rental animatronics. The animatronics that are found down there are the Funtime animatronics themselves, including Circus Baby, which at the time is being possessed by Michael's younger sister, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
This is where we get a lot of the information that indicates how Elizabeth died, how the Funtime animatronics were made, and stuff I've already mentioned. So, to very briefly describe the events that happened in Sister Location, the Funtime animatronics are essentially trapped in this underground storage facility and want a way out. So in order to do that, Circus Baby tricks Michael into helping them escape. The way Circus...
What? Why, whoa, Lord, god damn, oh god, bro, what? Escape? What does that mean, escape? They're gonna be outside of the freaking restaurants? They're just gonna be wandering the streets now? What? Okay, one more time, baby.
The events that happened in Sister Location. The Funtime animatronics are essentially trapped in this underground storage facility and want a way out. So in order to
So what's outside of this storage facility? Does that mean a way out, like back into the restaurant, or a way out, like wandering the streets?
That Circus Baby tricks Michael into helping them escape. The way Circus Baby ends up doing this is by bringing Michael to something known as a scooping room, which is where a giant machine is...
Scooping room? God, like, why does that sound so creepy? It's just scooping, like ice cream, like it makes sense, but chat's spamming the scoop cave, the scooper. Stop!
Located that pulls out the endoskeleton of animatronics and leaves just the skin present. And this...
Why would they need to do that, though? Why would they ever need to make a machine to just pull all the belief...
is like... I know we're talking about a series that has to do with children possessing animatronics.
Yeah, whatever. Child murder's all cool. Skin?
And, like, devices made to, like, scoop children into them and all that. But this is the most outlandish detail of the story to me, because I can accept all the possessed, haunting child stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's the biology, anatomy, survival rates that I have a problem with. So...
What does that mean? I have no idea what he just said. What?
Is that the scooping machine scoops Michael... or at least rips a chunk of him out, and then pieces from all of the Funtime animatronics join together in a creature known as Innard.
Wait, what did he just explain? It scoops a part out of Michael and what? I scooped your mama! Got him! Okay, I have no idea.
Innard is, like I said, all of the Funtime animatronics together in one collective mass, and Innard enters in to Michael somehow. I guess they say that the scooper like ripped out part of his gut and then Innard crawled into his gut. I don't know. And then Innard, effectively wearing Michael as a skin suit, wears Michael around until his body can't take it, and then Innard leaves. Now I know that...
Wait, and is Michael dead? Does that kill Michael? Okay, I'm a little lost.
There's explanations in the books that have to do with, oh, well, there's this substance that can keep a spirit alive, and it's called remnant, and there's all this weird voodoo stuff. They tried to make possession and all that into a science, like something tangible, and I think that's pretty lame, and it's also not...
Yes! If it's gonna be with souls of dead children possessing robots, don't start trying to explain the biology of it all. Incredibly based.
Video game, so I choose to ignore it. But the short version is all the animatronics combine into Innard. A chunk of Michael is ripped out. Innard goes inside of that until Michael's body can't take it anymore. and Innard leaves, but Michael still survives. So effectively, all of the animatronics are now free and roaming around.
Dude, it's a rough day when you have 5 children inside of you at the same time. Anyway.
To do whatever they want to do. This is mentioned in the later games, but shortly after Innard escaped from Michael, because remember, Innard's now a collective...
This is a metaphor for pregnant women. Yes, yes. Thank you, Chad. I agree.
Consciousness.
And they wonder why he has bad odor complaints. True.
All of the Funtime animatronics. They kicked out Elizabeth, which is Circus Baby at the time, for some reason. I don't believe it's ever particularly said. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I think it may be because Elizabeth is the daughter of William Afton, the one that killed all of them, so they're not particularly fond of that.
Yeah, but what's his name? But Evan's there too, and he's also a daughter of... What do you mean? What do you mean?
Way, Elizabeth, aka Circus Baby, reassembles her original form out of scrap metal and becomes a kind of junk version of herself.
Bro, that's horrifying. Oh my god. They just get scarier and scarier.
Known as Scrap Baby. Innard, which again is the collective consciousness of all of the children murdered.
Is this name just Innard? Like a person's innards? Because if so, that's an awesome name.
By William.
Hello, it's me, Testicle. How are you? Huh! Testicle, I wonder what you do for a living. Wouldn't you like to know?
For the puppet Charlie, we'll get to her in a minute, decides that the best way to continue survival is to scavenge parts and try to appear as a normal animatronic, or at least a sustainable one. So they do, and Innard converts itself into a creature known as Molten Freddie.
Molten Freddie, okay.
Well, look at the timeline. There is a 30-year gap in time. Like, the events of Sister Location probably happened somewhere around 1995, and then nothing happens until 2023.
What? No way. For this gap of over 20 years, Henry is just sitting there biding his time while William is possessed by some sort of spring trap? Or the other way around?
I don't know of any stories in the series that say they killed anyone during this time period, but having like a collective conscious of murdered children roaming around the sewers is probably a bad thing. And it becomes an especially bad thing.
So it really did escape. It straight up escaped. So the reason why we don't have stories is because these animatronics all kind of combined into one Molten Freddy shit, and it's crawling around the sewers right now. Okay, based.
Whenever in 2023, when the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 happens. See, by the year 2023, everything that happened on this side had become a local folk legend. It became a big story of,
5 kids disappeared. They never found the bodies, but they say that there are 5 animatronics. And everyone's like, yeah, all right, okay, dude.
Here's the abandoned pizza place where all those children were murdered. So they took an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
No, they didn't make it a haunted house. There's no way.
Made it into a spooky horror attraction.
Oh my god, there's no way. Okay, all right. Well, anything for money, am I right, guys? Anything that'll pay the bills. Listen, kids got killed here, yes, however.
Known as Fazbear Frights. Where at the attraction, they get a bunch of old Fazbear Entertainment merchandise and hang it up everywhere in order to give the whole creepy, abandoned pizzeria vibe. This is all well and good until the phone guy says...
I like that. I like that they gave it a 20-year gap so that it's not like fresh in the minds, horrible thing happened, 5 people murdered, but it's more of just like, this is what the town is known for. Imagine 5 kids disappearing in a pizza place with creepy animatronics with no bodies to be found. Like, yeah, that'll be what the town is known for forever now.
They recovered...
You fuck a goat one time and they call you... Frank the goat fucker. Listen, it's never gonna wash off.
Full animatronic that was locked up in one of the walled off back rooms.
But I have an even better surprise. You're not gonna believe this. We found one. A real one.
And sure enough, that animatronic they found was William Afton, still alive and possessing the animatronic that is carrying his own corpse.
Oh my god, dude, that's sick. They found an actual animatronic, and it's the only one left because he freed all the other ones. They escaped into the sewers. They found a live one. Bro, don't look up Chica Rule 34. Too late.
That for the past 30 years has been stuck in a walled-off room. So the people at Fazbear Frights think this is a great find and decide to set it up as part of the attraction, and that's where bad things happen.
Oh my god, the idiots! The idiots! Hey Mooney, welcome to the stream. I'm learning all about FNAF's timeline and lore, okay? I am catching up. I am learning every bit of lore there is to know.
Michael gets the security position at Fazbear Frights, again trying to figure out what's going on. Keep in mind 30 years have passed too, so at this point he's a fully grown man who's determined to figure out what his dad did.
Right.
Father, it's me, Michael.
Okay, so now it's all but confirmed that this Michael character that's been the guard until now is the same Michael, right? And it's the same Michael as the guy that got a chunk of his body ripped out and got...
I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been
Why does Michael have a British accent?
living in shadows.
Why does Michael become Sasuke?
There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come find you.
Oh, that's not terrifying.
And throughout the course
Yep,
of
that's
Five
not
Nights at
horrifying.
Freddy's 3, we get the full story of what happened to William Afton and how he came to possess the Springtrap animatronic, yada yada. Until on the final night of this Fazbear Frights location, it seems that Michael tries to burn down the building with his father in it. However, it doesn't work and William manages to get free after 30 years of being locked up.
Wait, Michael ends up in prison for 30 years for committing arson? Ain't no way.
It doesn't work and William manages to get free after 30 years
William gets free? Wait, William gets free? What does that mean, William gets free? William's in an animatronic right now.
of being locked up. So now by the year 2023...
Oh, William is let free! Oh, free from the complex that he was trapped in for 30 years! Okay, alright, I'm following. Okay, William gets free. Oh god, he's free. The psycho child murderer is free. Let's go.
We have William, who is running around as the animatronic trap. We have Molten Freddy, which is the collective conscious of all of the children William killed.
Right, and it's just wandering in the sewers right now.
Again, except for Charlie. We have Charlie as the puppet, also running around doing...
Oh, that's right. We haven't seen her in a while. She's not part of Molten Freddy. I guess she's just kind of vibing. All right.
God knows what. And we have Circus Baby, who was kicked out of Molten Freddy and is now existing as her own animatronic. So this is probably bad, having all of them run around doing their own thing.
And they're all free. None of them are actually confined to any location right now. That's scary.
Now that William's free to do whatever he wants. And it seems that Henry, who at this point has been quiet for a pretty good while...
Let's go! Henry's back! He's the guy that I wanted to hear from the whole time. He's not a good guy. He's complicit in all this that he didn't get William arrested, but...
in the story, has decided that he's going to do something about it. So, Henry opens up a brand new restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
You are absolutely kidding me. You're joking. Why does this work? Why do people keep coming back to this? Dude, what the hell is going on? He learned nothing. Man learned nothing. Oh my god, bro.
Opening a restaurant under a title that up until this point, as seen by Fazbear Frights, has some pretty bad blood attached to it. However, Henry doesn't care. And
unless it was to lure William there. Unless it was just made to lure William. Okay. He doesn't care that it's not going to do well. He wants to catfish William.
He's just starting another pizza restaurant, to which Michael is immediately hired as security guard. As soon as the restaurant...
They had to be working together, right? So Henry builds the pizzeria, Michael joins because he wants revenge, and they're going to try to lure William to show up in the ultimate combo. All of the named characters from the very, very beginning of the timeline come together for this final climax.
Restaurant is opened. Old animatronics start to show up in the back alley of the restaurant.
There is another aspect to your end-of-day routine, and that is inspecting and salvaging any animatronics found in the alley outside the back door.
Right, so that's Molten Freddy, right? The collective conscience of the children that were killed by William.
Things are found here quite often, and while we aren't sure why, what we do know is that they can be used for parts, which can mean a much-needed revenue boost before starting your next day.
Okay, dude, let's not make believe this is still about the money, right? Are you kidding me? FNAF, Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I love Wendigoon titling his chapters like this. But, like, there's no way they're about to cover up of some sort. There's no way this is about the money. Like, come on. They should be beyond that at this point.
These animatronics include Circus Baby, Molten Freddy, and Springtrap, who at the time to all the other workers just seemed to be old decrepit animatronics that it seems somebody threw out or left behind the restaurant.
Okay, alright, I get it. So he has, of course. So Henry and Michael, who's, you know, here as well, are telling the other employees that this is for spare parts, when in actuality, they're just doing this it's not about the money. Of course it's not about the money. They're just convincing everyone else it's about the money.
In case the restaurant wanted.
This is a vendetta, brother.
As the player, you have the choice in this game, which we're now to Five Nights at Freddy's 6, by the way, of what animatronics you want to bring into the restaurant and put in storage, and which ones you want to throw back outside. While you may have the ability to do what you want, in order to get the correct or full ending of the story, you have to bring all of the animatronics into the building. The game also heavily suggests to you that the purpose of what you're doing is to salvage all the animatronics.
I don't know how those tiny breaths of life came to inhabit those machines, but they will never find rest now, not like this. I have to call them all back, all of them, together in one place.
It seems that the animatronics are interested in whatever it is Henry's doing and have each made their way to the pizzeria.
Bro, what is going on? I am so curious right now. What?
By one. Henry created the pizzeria as essentially bait in order to lure all of them back in.
Yeah, that was my guess. All right.
That is, except for one animatronic that Henry knew would not be interested in falling into a trap, and that is the puppet, which is possessed by his own daughter, Charlie. To take
I was wondering where she would be in all of this.
care of her, Henry built an animatronic known as Lefty, an animatronic built with the sole purpose of catching the puppet animatronic.
Okay, so this actually fits into the line of Henry's expertise, right? Henry created the puppet animatronic purely to protect his daughter, and now he's creating this Lefty animatronic purely to go capture the puppet animatronic. This definitely falls into his line of work and expertise. I do like that. God damn.
Again, if you didn't know about all this story or everything happening before, that's like a really weird detail in the later games. But again, here it makes sense because,
right, because he created that's right, yeah.
He's trying to get all the animatronics under one roof, and he knew that the puppet would probably be resistant to it, so he made an animatronic specifically to catch her. And then on the final night,
dude, it fits so nicely when he puts it down like this. That's wild. My boy Nux getting 10 years of lore shoved down his throat and he's loving it. Bro, I am loving it. I'm getting a full facial of lore right now. God damn. I feel like I am getting that lore cream pie I desperately needed for years. People have been harassing me to get into the Five Nights at Freddy's lore timeline shit, and I never did. Just a lore kake. Yes! Yes! I will know every bit of lore from the internet. I am Nuxanor.
As Michael is being attacked by the animatronics, Circus Baby begins to tell Michael of how she's going to kill him.
You played right into our hands. Did you really think that this job just fell out of the sky for you?
Oh, what?
No, this was a gift for us. You gathered them all together in one place, just like he asked you to. All of those little souls in one place.
What?
Just for us. A gift. Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy.
Oh my god, what? Even at the very... Well, that's why she was obviously not kept in the molten Freddy. Because she's fucking insane. God, I want her to scoop me.
Watch, listen, and be full.
Before she is cut off by Henry, now making his presence known. And you know what? Rather than describing what happens next, I'll just let you hear for yourselves.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth. If you still even remember that name, then I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection, and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize.
Bro, Henry was waiting 30 years to give this evil monologue, wasn't he? Oh my god, bro.
You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will.
Henry was sitting back for 30 years to cook up the greatest monologue of all time. Oh my god, what is this?
This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you.
Wait, what? That's Michael, right? He's talking to Michael right now.
Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby.
Dude, no. They're both gonna die in this fire, aren't they? He's giving the monologue and they're both gonna die in a fire in this restaurant, burning down all of them, right? With the little degrees thing getting hotter and hotter and hotter as it goes, right? Right? Dude, no way. Henry's just burning it all down, taking himself with it. He wants to end with that nightmare.
This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you.
Dude.
For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil...
That's William. That's William. The darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole.
Friend, my daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry
God, dude, that's so sad.
that on that day...
Dude, I can imagine playing this game without knowing all of this insane lore pieced together over years. I would be I'd hear this villain monologue and I'd be like, who took Henry off his meds? I don't know what is going on.
The day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest.
This is a broken ass man. Holy shit.
For you, and for those you have carried in your arms, this ends, for all of us, in communication.
And with that, we have the end of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. Almost.
No!
There's one
Almost!
extreme in the series, known as Ultimate Custom Night.
Bro, that is a perfect ending. That is a perfect way to end the series. It wraps everything up in such a tragically beautiful way. What do you mean, almost? Oh, God.
From any outsider looking in, it looks like just a bonus mode. It's just one night, and you can choose any of the animatronics from the series, set them to whatever difficulty you want, and then based on how hard of a difficulty you complete each of the challenges, you're given these kind of goofy cutscenes. It seems just like a fun free play mode, right?
Okay, alright, fun free play mode. I'm cool with that. That's fine. That's cool. That's alright. That's just, get some cash, get that bag. Yeah, let's go.
Well, every now and then, whenever you're killed by one of the animatronics in Ultimate Custom Night, they give you a kind of threatening message that seems directed to you, the person.
You won't die, but you'll wish you could.
I mean, true. She's so real for that. Let's go. The cold embrace of death. Let's go.
Recognize you, but I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore.
It seems like there's more going on here. There's a character in the name known as Old Man Consequences. And if you change the settings to where it's just Old Man Consequences that you're going up against, you'll be taken to a sort of pristine lake where you're controlling a sprite that looks like Fredbear, to which Old Man Consequences tells Fredbear, leave the demons to the demons and rest your own soul.
Oh my God, what? Dude, Wendigoon, please don't take it to religious metaphors. No.
Seems like this Ultimate Custom Night is William Afton's personal hell, and not...
Interesting. I love that. Alright, take back what I said before. That's fucking awesome. Yes, sir. That is awesome. What an incredible way to make, like, a final endless mode, right? Because every game needs an endless mode, right? Just the cash grab. Bro, that is a perfect epilogue. I was so wrong when I said it should have ended there. A personal, never-ending, endless hellscape for William Afton for eternity for the horrors he committed, where the people that he murdered and caused their suffering will all give him their final thoughts as they tear him asunder, brother. Dude! And it's free on Steam, that's even better. But dude, an endless mode for lore? Bro, getting that Diavolo JoJo Part 5 ending. Let's go, bro!
Only that,
That's
but
awesome.
it is being curated by the spirit within Fredbear. If you'll remember, Evan and Cassidy are both within Fredbear itself. And whenever William dismantled all of the animatronics in order to put them into the Funtime animatronics, which eventually became Molten Freddy, it was left very ambiguous if Golden Freddy was among those who were captured. Ooh. So if it's true that Golden Freddy was not brought into the fold of Ennard, that would mean that after Henry burnt the pizzeria...
There's still Golden Freddy wandering around with the souls of Cassidy and, what's his name, Evan.
Made all of them pass to the other side, that Golden Freddy was exempt from that. Or if Golden Freddy was a part of Ennard and was burned up in the pizzeria, then it seems like both of the souls in Golden Freddy or one of the souls in Golden Freddy doesn't want to let go. Now, there's a lot of evidence to say that this spirit that is torturing Michael is the spirit of Cassidy, the other one possessing Fredbear along with Evan. The reason for that is some of the animatronic voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night refer to the one you should not have killed. And that couldn't be Evan because William didn't necessarily kill Evan.
Oh, so it's Cassidy because you shouldn't have killed Cassidy because there was already a soul possessing Fredbear?
Evan, Michael killed Evan. However, I really want it to be Evan who's torturing William for eternity. Because not only would
that would be much more thematic than Cassidy, just one of 5.
Be very poetic, as Evan was the first child dead that started everything, and now he's the last child who's still holding on to torturing his own father.
I really like that also from a very thematic purpose. Ultimately, all of the evils and atrocities that William did is because of the demons in his mind, right? That all started with Evan. So the idea that I'm still suffering because this Evan is holding him accountable, just like it's this Evan that pushed him down that rabbit hole, it's that Evan that's going to keep him down that rabbit hole. I feel like that is such a much more powerful and pristine thematic motive here, instead of Cassidy, just a random one of the 5. I really think that... yeah, that works really well. Even if it's not literally Evan, but it's just the demon of Evan that he created in his own mind that got him down this path, this downward spiral of starting to actually murder children. You know, not the literal Evan, but the metaphysical Evan that he manifested for himself.
But it also makes the story so much more personal that Evan, who was forced to live in this hell over and over again, because as his father said, he put him back together, is now forcing his father to endure what Evan and so many others had to endure as well. Either way, the spirit within Fredbear is still holding on and forcing William to endure their own torment rather than passing on to the other side.
Damn.
And if you manage to complete Ultimate Custom Night, on nearly the hardest, you get a final end screen of Fredbear just sitting there, twitching as the camera fades out. Is this a representation that Fredbear is going to continue to fight and torture William for time infinite, or is the fading away symbolic of Fredbear finally letting go? Who's to say? But what I will say is that completes the 5 Nights at Freddy's timeline.
Bro, I know you still have 10 more minutes to this video, and I'm definitely going to go back into it and see what this is all about, but goddamn, you did such a good job, my bro, my guy, what a legend. I can't believe he managed to jam all this down my throat in one video.
Probably, maybe. A lot of this was guesswork and speculation, but that's pretty much on par for the series. So, my plan was to have this video as it is, and then immediately just keep talking and run into the VHS tapes.
What?
My plan was also to make this 5 Nights at Freddy's lore section like 20-30 minutes.
That didn't work.
And this is not that. So while I normally would just say, oh, I don't care about making a 4 or 5 hour long video, I think it would be a discredit to the creators of the VHS tapes like Squimpus, McGrimpus, and whatnot if I put the VHS tapes now after what's this going to be, like an hour and a half.
All right, so and he does make another one, right? He makes he has another video specifically about the VHS tapes, and 10,000 likes, and I'll watch those, I guess, but not for any less than that, because goddamn. I had enough children death for right now.
Have 2 hours of video and then start talking about their content, because their content's really cool and I want to give it the attention it deserves.
Based.
Not, okay, go watch me talk for an hour and a half and then I'll talk about those guys. And also, a lot of people wanted to see the FNAF timeline or my take on it anyway, so this wasn't like lost time at all. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just upload this video as it is, just like the
whole timeline. I love how he makes an hour-and-a-half video covering the entire timeline with incredible amounts of research, and then he's like, I'm just gonna upload this. I know it's not like finished and perfect, but like I'll just... What a legend.
And then, right after I get done recording this, because I already have all the notes and stuff put together for the VHS tapes, I'm just going to record the VHS tapes and edit the two back to back. So this video will come out, and then the VHS tape analysis will come out shortly after.
All right, awesome. And 10,000 likes, and I'll watch that. But in the meantime, everyone, go check out Wendigoon. Man makes such fantastic content, and I really appreciate you edumacating me on the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Ladies and gentlemen, I will know all lore. I will become Nuxanor. I will. Everything internet. That is my thing. Let's go, baby. Great video. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.